Big news today. Finance Committee Chairman Max Baucus said today that he expects to get the CBO score tomorrow. You know what? Does it matter to you or to me or any other Americans out there? Hey, we got that health care thing down below $900 billion. Let's go to dinner, honey. Oh, we got Iraq down to $2 trillion. These numbers mean nothing. This isn't an auction. This isn't what we should be concerned about. We should be concerned about what the heck they're actually doing. This is another stall tactic, I think. By the way, since when are Congressional Budget Office projections correct? Heck, they couldn't even get the cash for clunkers thing gig going correctly. They need to throw more money into that. This is a Max Baucus stall tactic is what this is, and this shouldn't be any concern to anybody. Get the damn bill written correctly and let's get it on. What they should be concerned with is Democrats who don't have their heads screwed on right, like Max Baucus in Montana. But what about Ben Nelson in Nebraska? Now, I'm not picking on Ben, but I am commending the Democrats in that state. You see, in Nebraska, Senator Ben Nelson, I won't vote for a public option Nelson, he's been put on notice. And this is what has to happen. The Nebraska Democratic Party voted over the weekend to make support for a public option part of its party platform. Gosh, that sounds familiar. I thought the National Party did that. The added language reads something like this. Whereas public polls show that a majority of Americans want health care reform to offer the choice of a robust public option, be it resolved that the Nebraska Democratic Party urge our members of Congress to vote for such health care reform proposals that contain a robust public options at all stages of the legislative process, including conference and reconciliation, and encourage legislators to pass such reform. Wake up to that one, Ben. Now, that's what I call a productive town hall meeting without all the crazies. The reconciliation reference is a direct shot at Senator Nelson, who recently and inexplicably claimed that a Senate bill needs at least 65 votes to be legitimate. Ben Nelson has not said that he would block a Republican filibuster. This is the kind of pressure we've been talking about. It's the kind of pressure Michael Moore was talking about the other night on this program. Democrats are not going to support traitors. Democrats, don't go against your base on this. Don't do it. It's not worth it. It's not worth the fight. It would be like just saying, I don't know why you sent me to Washington. We know exactly what the last election was all about. Conservative Democrats trying to kill the president's reform plan. If they do that, they're going to be punished at the polls. There's no way around it. The base will not back them because, hey, they got a D behind their name. It isn't going to work that way. This is about the issue. This is about the issue of saving America's middle class. It's called holding our elected leaders accountable. Progressives aren't stopping at Democrats. Let's go to the state of Maine. There's a new ad up there right now targeting Senator Olympia Snowe.
Before he died, my first husband and I thought we had great health insurance. But when he got cancer, the insurance companies refused to pay thousands of dollars of bills. That forced us into bankruptcy. Senator Snowe, I voted for you because I thought you were independent. Maine families like mine need you to stand with us and not with insurance companies and national Republican politicians.
Don't stand with national Republican politicians. That's pretty good advice for, let's see, a number of them. Olympia Snowe, Ben Nelson, Max Baucus, and Senator Kent Conrad from North Dakota. In my former state of North Dakota, there hasn't been any polling on the public option, and I can tell you that there are some political forces working within that state. They don't want to do it because they're afraid of what the number is going to be. No matter what President Obama does, the Republicans are just going to do the opposite. Whatever he is for, they're going to be against. In last night's tech survey, 78% of you said that President Obama is not doing enough to close the deal. But I've been telling you, and I'm going to keep on telling you that I think the president, he's going to be there. He's keeping his powder dry until the bill goes into conference. That's when Baucus is going to have to put up with a room of folks like Tom Harkin, Chris Dodd, Nancy Pelosi, all of those who have been really strong backers of a public plan. Nancy Pelosi talked about the president's involvement on Charlie Rose.
So what happens, and this is the big question, if the Senate passes a bill that does not have a public option, and you pass a bill that does have a public option, and you go to conference?
Well, let's not go too fast on the Senate side. The Senate has two bills on the table.
Exactly.
One has a public option in it. The first bill that passed out of committee, Senator Kennedy led the way, bless his soul. The president knows at the end of the day, he will weigh in House and Senate conference. And he has set forth principles, and I think both houses are honoring his principles. Now he has to establish priorities among them.
We got lots of talking going on, don't we, lefties? Now, I think the president will be there with the American people on this. You know, he's seeing the same numbers you and I are seeing. 51% of business leaders, they want it. 65% of voters, 75% of doctors all want some type of public competition. But when is this all going to unfold? When are we finally going to get the word that, hey, Max, you're wrong on this thing? Ain't going to be any co-op, buddy. We're going public option. That's what I want to hear from the White House. Joining me now is Congressman Anthony Weiner of New York. Congressman, some new developments. We have got centrist Democrats now who want to hold this thing up for 72 hours so it can be out on the internet, so everybody can do the reading, so there's no excuses once they vote on this thing. Are you okay with that, or is that a stall tactic?
No, I'm fine with giving this a few more days, even a couple more weeks. Look, I'm in the same place you are. I think we need to put pressure not only on the Republicans, they might be a lost cause, but some of the moderates in our party. You know, today I launched a website, countdowntohealthcare.com, to allow people in states like yours to weigh in and say, you know what, let's get this moving. You know, John Boehner says, well, I don't think anyone wants a public option. We know what his view is, but we have to make sure that Max Baucus and the Finance Committee and these other so-called moderates understand the truly fiscal conservative thing here to do is choice and competition through the public option, and we need to pressure them. That's what countdowntohealthcare.com is supposed to be achieving.
Okay, now you have been in the forefront of this fight all along, Congressman. You've gone so far as to say that when the Baucus bill came out of the Senate Finance Committee and it didn't have a public option, it went from the emergency room to the morgue. Why can't the White House talk like that?
Well, you know, I'm hearing through back channels that indeed the White House is starting to do some calisthenics to maybe put their finger on the scale for the public option. We need to strengthen their spine a little bit. There's no doubt about it. I think too often at the White House, not only in this administration, every administration, they say we just want to get a win up on the board. It won't be a win if we pass a bill that doesn't contain costs, that doesn't have choice. That's why the public option has become so important. Although it's not this all-powerful force, it is one sliver of competition that is going to mean cost containment.
Okay, so when is this going to unfold? I mean, how long is this going to go on? I mean, am I going to be back in Minnesota eating turkey dinner for Thanksgiving saying, gosh, I got to go back on Monday and talk about the public option again? The American people are losing their patience on this deal, and I'm starting to think that the White House is disconnected. They're afraid to go over there and tell the Grassleys and the Baucuses and the Conrads, this is what's happening, boys. And I think the American people are feeling the same thing. It's time to move forward.
Well, I think you're right, and not to overdo the plug, but the reason we called it Countdown to healthcare.com is we think by Thanksgiving this thing has to be over and done with. I think when the American people are saying thanks, they're saying thanks that finally a Democratic House, a Democratic Senate with a Democratic president has finally done what we did 44 years ago with Medicare, and that is truly put some competition, some choice back in the healthcare for all Americans. I think that's our day.
Do you think that everybody in the Congress is going to read the bill? Or do you think a few people are going to wing it like they did the Patriot Act?
Well, you know, I mean, I've read the bill, and frankly, right now another bill is being written that's putting in the best elements and hopefully leaving the Finance Committee of the Senate aside where they probably should be at this point. But I think that it's important for the American people to understand, don't let this notion about who read what to distract from the basic elements. This isn't rocket science. What we're saying is if we're going to give people the opportunity to go buy their own insurance, it's going to be useless unless we have true choice and true competition for them. That's the element of this that's in controversy. That's the element of this that has to be pushed. But I'm on the committee, so I'm going to have to read the thing, so I'll let you know what it says.
Congressman Weiner, good to have you with us tonight. Thanks so much.
You mind if I say that website one more time?
I'll tell you what, you can say it real slow to make sure you get it out there, and let's get after it. Here it is, www.
It's countdowntohealthcare.com. That's where you can tell John Boehner that we support a public option, and all my Democratic friends, too.
And that's important because he said the other day that he hadn't met anybody that was for the public option.
Right.
Congressman, good to have you on. Thank you.